Hello, good evening. I'm not sure how many people will catch me here live. I hope a few people do. I've got a pretty fun project to show you. It's kind of a technique, actually. Hi, Carol. Hi, Barbara. Good evening to you both. So I'm more or less making this project from scratch just to show you. Now, if you want to join in, I'll tell you some basic materials that you need. You need a card base. Well, first of all, pick out some designer series paper, preferably something with a lot of color on it. And then match your card base to that. So you'll need a regular card base for that. And you could either have it, you know, tent, fold, I'm starting with a 4 1/4 by 11, but you could do the other way as well. And then you need a piece of Whisper White that's 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to cut our paper. Okay. So I'll show you the cards that I learned to make these the other night. And I've done something similar to this before. It's a quilting technique. But these are what I learned to make the other evening, and it basically uses 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 inch squares of designer series paper, and then you end up using both sides of the paper, and then you create a grid pattern on your Whisper White piece, and then you run it through an embossing folder. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this tonight. So if you want to join in, then just find a piece of DSP with lots of color, as I said. And we're going to cut this into 1 1/4 inch squares. You need 12 squares. And then you need your card base, so something that coordinates with your card base. Okay. So both of these cards ended up to be a landscape card. So here are the two different cards that I made. Okay. And then you can embellish and add your greetings as you like, or add stamped images, or add some die cuts, whatever you like. So I just want to show you kind of the bones of how to make this, and then you can go ahead and make it. So this is the Whisper White piece that you're going to build your squares onto. This is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. As I said, this is my card base. Okay. Hi, Sandy. Oh, hi, Linda. Nice of you to join me. Nice to see you guys. Well, I don't really see you guys, but I know you're there. Okay, so I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer. I'm going to cut my designer series paper. So our paper comes, a lot of our papers come 12 by 12, and so I usually cut 4-inch strips. You can get 3 strips like this out of a 12 by 12. And then I cut them down to the card bases, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, but I'm not going to do that in this case because I want to cut these 1 1/4 inch strips. Okay, so I'm going to move this over to 1 1/4 inches. Okay, make sure that's nicely lined up, and then I'm going to trim off a 1 1/4 inch piece. And then I'm going to start trimming 1 1/4 inch squares. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So while I'm doing this, if you want to craft along with me, I'll repeat again for those that came in just now. You need a card base, which is typically 4 1/4 by 11, and you're going to score it in half at 5 1/2, which I'll do once I've got my little squares done. And then some DSP cut into 1 1/4 inch squares, and you need 12 squares. Okay, so there's 3, 4. So how is everybody doing this evening? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 more to go. Now I'm going to keep this little extra piece because at the edge of your card you could use that. So I lost count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Ten, 11, 12. Okay, so it's a bit of prep ahead of time, but once you've got all your pieces set out, you're good to go. So now I'm going to take my card base. So as I said, you can do a card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, and you're going to score that in half at 4 1/4 to make a regular card base. That's what this is, okay? So for those of you that are new, we have cardstock that's 8.5 by 11, so you cut it in half at 5.5, and then you have 8.5 by 5.5, and then you score it in the middle at 4 1/4, and that creates that regular, typical A2 card style that you can either have portrait or you can have landscape. Those are the two orientations for that. Or you can have what I'm doing now. I've got 11, so this is again 8.5 by 11. You cut it down at 4 1/4. So now you have 4 1/4 by 11, and now you're going to score this at 5.5. Okay, so there's your 5.5. Wow, look at everybody on here tonight. I usually do a Monday morning at 10, where I show people how to use card layouts to make cards. All right, so there is our card base, and here's our Whisper White piece. Now we're going to start building these squares, and I'll show you what I like to do. So we have these grid sheets to use for crafting, and so I am going to just put a little bit of, tiny bit of tape on the back of this just to hold this in place on my grid sheet, and I'm going to just sort of center this on here. Each of these little squares is 1/4 inch, so this grid paper is great for card making. Okay, now what you want to do is you're going to take your squares and you're going to start, instead of starting right on the edge, you're going to start like 2 squares above it. Okay, so you're going to overhang the paper, and you're going to trim this down a little bit later. So I'm going to just show you what the layout looks like so that you get an idea. So you're going to be reversing the papers, and you can decide how you want to do this. Okay, so this is my other side of the paper, and then you're going to have another piece that comes up like this. Okay, and then you may want one down here like this. So this left side lines up right along the edge here. And then you're going to use liquid glue so that you can move them around a little bit and put these on. Okay. So this one is going to come over here like this. And then you want one that's going to fit on the edge here like that. So, oh dear, I just moved all of that around. Sorry about that. I just wanted to show you the pattern before I commit to gluing it down, just so that you understand what I'm doing here. Okay? So you're going to continue building your pattern on here. I want these ovals. There's kind of an oval pattern on here. So this is basically what you're doing here. So you're going to have a little piece to fill in this gap, And then you're going to have another piece to fill in this gap here, like that. And you don't have to make any specific pattern. You can just do it randomly. Okay, and you might even, after you have it down, you might say, well, I think I might change my mind and maybe swap, you know, this out, for example. Okay, you can do whatever you want with this. All right, so you'll notice on this card, this was done like this. So I've started, you know, halfway up, and then these are the little gaps on this side that you fill in, and then we're going to trim it. Okay, anything that overhangs on it. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing, and so we have this Tombow multi liquid glue, which is fantastic because it gives you time to slide things around. So having the grid sheet here really helps. You could draw lines on a piece of paper if you wanted to, or just eyeball it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so to start them lining up, you'll start with one in the top left and then follow it by this next one here. Try and get it straight, corner to corner. Okay, and then this one will go, I'll just put a little bit of glue on the bottom piece there and stick that on. See, the grid lines help me straighten it, make sure it's straight. Oh my goodness, Cindy, you're watching me tonight. How nice. How are you doing? All right, so, and you can kind of watch your pattern. If there's anything that needs to be up and down or sideways. This is just a floral, but it looks like there is an up and down. There is an up and down pattern to these floral pieces. Let's switch it up a bit maybe. Let's put this one here. Whoops, that slid. See how it slides a bit, which is perfect. You're going to be amazed once you run this through an embossing folder. You will just be amazed at how this works out. I'm holding this up. I don't want to get glue on the bottom there. Okay. Yeah, these are all glued. Let's do this one with the brighter flower in the middle here. Cindy, I thought Carol was going to join me tonight. I should have sent her a reminder. In case she didn't see my post today. Okay, and I'll do this last one here. And then one on the side. Okay, so we're basically got this going now. Okay, so do you get the idea then? And any extras that you have left over, I put them on the inside of my card when I decorated the inside of my card. So this one I just put a strip of paper because when you cut your cardstock, cut your designer series paper, you very often have little strips left over. In this one I put little squares in here. You see if you have any leftover squares. Okay. So I want to lift this off now. Make sure I'm not too badly glued to here. Okay, so when you trim this now, you're going to trim, I always trim from the back. So you can either use paper snips on this, or if you happen to have any kind of a trimmer, I happen to have this little mini trimmer that Stampin' Up brought out for us. And so I can just trim these pieces off the back. And then they kind of get stuck because they've got glue on them, but that's okay. And then I'm just lining this up too. And we'll give this a snip, like so. I should have told you, I will in a minute, told you what stamp set and paper I'm using. This is called Fine Art Floral, and it's in our mini catalog. For those of you that are new watching and you're interested in card making, I can certainly send you a catalog. I could chat with you about what it's all about. I've been doing this now with Stampin' Up for going on 8 years, and I absolutely love it. I've met so many amazing people and traveled to what they used to call conventions. They call them on stage and on tour events now. But that all got shut down for COVID this year, which is too bad. All right, so this is what this looks like. So the next step now is to run this through an embossing folder. Now, embossing folders, I'm going to actually bring over my Big Shot for those of you who are new, just so you can see what that's all about. And I will pick out an embossing folder. So this is our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This is a machine by Stampin' Up. Okay. And so I won't go into too much detail about this tonight, but this is basically what it looks like, and it does fold up. And you have these varying plates to build what they call sandwiches. So I'm going to be embossing, so I don't need this plate. This is used when you're cutting. And then you need, I need another plate. So this is an embossing folder here. So these are plastic folders that have texture built in, and there's an embossed image and a debossed image in here, okay? And so what you do is you basically put your cardstock, excuse me, you put your cardstock or your designer series paper in the sandwich, okay, like that. And you're going to run it through this machine. So I'm just going to grab another plate. This is another plate that we use for embossing folders. And so I'm going to grab this plate with the folder underneath it, and then I'm going to run it through. So we have this handle, and you hold on, and then you run it through. And so there's rollers inside, and the pressure of those rollers create the impression. Okay. So let me just move this out of the way. And let's see what we end up with here. So hopefully you can see this on camera. I know some of you watching are very familiar with this whole process here. So I don't know if you can see this. Let me pull my light over a bit more. But it creates an impression on your cardstock. I'm sure you've seen embossing on cards that you've purchased in the stores. But it creates a texture, and it creates depth and interest to your project. So that's what embossing is all about. Okay? So once you have that, then you will then be mounting this on your card. Now, this is the point where you decide if you want maybe some ribbon on here. And so if you're going to use ribbon, you want to wrap the ribbon around this piece before you stick it onto your card base. Okay, so I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with this first before I start gluing things down. So I've already cut, and again, we use that same machine to die. These are called die cuts. I'll just show you what they look like. So for example, this is a collection of circles, straight edge circles, and then scalloped edge circles. So here I created a straight edge and a scallop edge, and they all coordinate for size. Okay, so I've got this white one, which I'm going to stamp an image on. And then I've got, see the coordinating scalloped edge around there. Now I've already mounted a couple of the stamps on my acrylic blocks. Let me just show you the stamp set that I'm decided to use tonight, and this matches the paper. So this is called Art Gallery. This is in our mini catalog, and I'll just pull that out so you can see. So we typically have 2 catalogs running at the same time in a year. We have an annual catalog that runs for full 12 months. Then we pull in a mini catalog in the spring, and we pull in a fall winter catalog in around August. So this is actually the suite that we're using tonight. It's called Fine Art Floral. So often our stamp sets are in what we call suites. So let's just find that one, and I can show you what it's all about. So here you go, Fine Art Floral. So what a suite means is that there are a variety of products that all coordinate together. That's one thing Stampin' Up! Is very well known for, is their color coordination with everything, with their ribbons, with their embellishments. So this comes with this beautiful paper. All of our papers are very high quality, and they're not thin at all, and they're always double-sided. And so this suite comes with, here's the stamp set and the dies. Okay, so these are all the stamps that come in here. And then there's a set of dies that goes with it. Okay, and I can show you the dies. This is what they look like. All right, so these are the dies. Often they have words in there. So here's a leaf stem. Here's a couple of dies for making sentiments. There's a little cluster of flowers, 2 other flowers that you can cut out. So basically you stamp and then you cut out. And this set is known as a triple time stamping, which means that to build this whole flower, you've got 3 stamps that you stamp at either different colors, or you do dark ink and light inks to create these beautiful flowers. And then you can stamp direct to the paper, or you can cut them out with these dies. And then they have other coordinating things. For example, they have ribbon here. They have these beautiful, beautiful gold sheets that actually match some of the papers. They lay right on top of it. We've got gold flaking. Yeah, so that's kind of how our suites work. So often, if you want everything in the suite, they very often have one item number. Suite collection, here it is, 155982, with one price to buy the entire suite, or you can buy things completely separate. Okay, so as another example, I'll just show you another suite here. This one is very, very popular, Dandy Garden. So with Dandy Garden, again, designer series paper, there's some cute little ladybugs. There is some beautiful linen thread. There's card packs, so card bases and envelopes. There are some laser cuts that you can put on top of the cards. Here's the stamp set and the dies. This one actually had 2 different stamp sets, one with a punch. We have punches as well. So, and it all coordinates. So these are some samples of all the different cards, or you can make gift tags, boxes, whatever you like. So lots of beautiful stuff in there. So if you'd like a catalog, you can let me know and I will mail one out to you. Okay, so if you live in Canada, then you can purchase from a Canadian demonstrator, which is what I am. And if you live in the United States, then you have to purchase from a demonstrator in the United States, and there are lots of those. So there you go. Okay, so let's see what we want to do with this. I'm going to just make it really simple tonight. I'm going to pull out a color that's in here. So we have inks that coordinate. Oh, Carol is watching. There you are. You're here. Yeah, Cindy jumped on, which was a lovely surprise. All right, so I'm going to pull down, the other green that's in here is called Old Olive. Let me pull that color down. Sorry, I had to move the camera a little bit. And I think to avoid getting ink on my grid sheet here, I'm just going to take a scrap piece of paper. And I'm going to ink up my leaf. And I'm going to stamp like this. There we go. And then I'm going to stamp this flower in Poppy. I'm not going to do the large flower tonight because I just want to do a flower on my label. So I'll just do this simple little flower here. Okay. And then this will go on top of this scalloped circle here like this. Okay, so that's the plan. And then I think I will put a greeting on here because I want to use one of these dies. I think it would be fun to add a greeting and add the die on here like that. Somewhere, okay? I could even do the bigger one. Depends on how I orient my card. Okay, so let's look at the greetings we have in here. So we have congratulations, happy birthday, good luck, I miss you, sorry, thank you, best wishes, you are lovely, and I'm thinking of you. Oh, I like I'm thinking of you. I think these days sending a card to people just because you're thinking about them. You do not have to have a reason to send a card to anybody, and receiving a card in the mail, I have always been a fan of that. I've been making my own Christmas cards and every card for years and years and years, even before I joined Stampin' Up. I love making cards and sending them to people. Okay, so let me grab another piece of white cardstock. And we will, you can stamp your greetings in any color. I often just use the black, but you can use, this is our Memento Black. This is an excellent ink if you're into alcohol markers. This is the ink that you want. Okay, so let's just see. I'll need this longer one. It won't even fit on this paper. So let me grab another strip here. I'm thinking of you. Okay, and then I need to cut this out. Now I've got too much stuff on my desk right now to bring up this cut and emboss machine, so I will go to my other table and do it. Okay, and I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Look how cool that die is. It's actually got some embossing on there as well. And it's like a postage stamp. That's really cool. Okay, cover up my ink. So what I'm going to do is, now I still haven't decided whether I'm going to do some ribbon. Maybe we'll do a bit of ribbon. So I'm just going to use my glue, and I will glue this circle down. On here. I love doing circles because you don't have to worry about it being straight. Okay, so there's my circle. I'm just looking through my comments. Yes, Christine. Okay, this stamp set is called Art Gallery, and it comes with floral gallery dies. So this comes as a bundle. When you purchase a bundle, you get 10% discount. Okay, so Art Gallery. And then, yeah, so these are the coordinating dies that go with it. And the paper is the Fine Art Floral paper. And I'm actually going to pull out this paper. You just won't believe how beautiful this paper is. I just love the combination of the colors in here. Okay, so you get, and when you look at this, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but this was done with oil inks, and this was actually, Stampin' Up! Has its own artists, and there was a video that I shared on my Facebook page of the artist actually creating this piece of artwork. Okay, so typically our 12 by 12s have 2 sheets of each pattern. So check this one out. You can really see the really thick brush strokes on there. And then this is the reverse color. So it's kind of all watercolored. Okay, and then this is the one I'm using for my card tonight. And then that was the back of it. And then look at this one. This is, I think, one of my favorites. Look at the colors in that. So vibrant. Okay, and then this one is just stunning. And it's on this pattern that those gold sheets, they just fit right on top to give it a gold outline. So I'm going to be making some cards with that, but this paper is just stunning. I could just frame this in a 12 by 12 frame, and then you've got this beautiful color on the back. This one also, I believe, has a gold sheet that fits right on top of that. So these are just amazing for scrapbook layouts. Oh my gosh, look at the back of that. Yeah, just stunning. And they're really a good quality, thick. So we often make boxes and gift bags with our papers because they are a thicker paper. They hold up really well to 3-dimensional projects. Okay, so those are the papers. And Christine, I believe you've got the catalog, don't you? You did come and pick that up one day. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Now I'm going to pull down. I've got some thread that came with this suite. Let me just grab that. Yeah, this is the. I think this was in the suite too. But all of our products coordinate, so of course you can, you know, mix and match with all kinds of different suites and products. All right, so what I might do is I think I'm going to make this a horizontal card, or what we call landscape card, and I think I'm going to wrap some ribbon or some thread around here. So how I do this is I'm going to put a little bit of tape on here once I get it started. Just a little bit of tape on each side there, and then I'm going to start, whoops, it didn't stick, start my ribbon. I'm just going to wrap it around a couple of times, like so. Yes, you often get your fingers stuck to things. Okay, so there's our ribbon. So I'm going to make this card horizontal. And then we will be gluing this on here. So let me get out my Tombow glue. And I will stick this on here. Like so. Yes, it's amazing how when I see, I go through the catalog once, then maybe I go through it twice. I definitely purchase some of the things that really pop out at me, and I kind of gloss over the rest of it. And then all of a sudden I'm watching YouTube or Pinterest and I see a project being made, and I say, well, where's that? Where did we see that? And so I have to go back to the catalog, and then I end up spending a little bit more money. Sometimes a lot more money. Okay, I think this is going to go right in here like that. Now I'm going to put this greeting on dimensionals. We have two sizes of dimensionals. We have some large ones and some small ones. I think I've almost run out. I'll have to open up a new package. So these are our little ones. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. Like so. And one more. Okay. And this I'm going to put on some other dimensionals. Now our dimensionals are what we call low profile. In other words, they're not as thick as most commercial, what they call pop dots. They're really thick. So these go through the mail quite easily. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here like so. And then I'm going to take these pieces off. Smaller ones just a bit more fiddly than the larger ones, but they work. Okay, and then we'll do an I'm thinking of you right here. Okay, so there is our finished card. And as some of you know, most of you know, I am an embellishment fan. So I'm going to find in my stash of beautiful embellishments. We've got pearls, we have rhinestones, we have things with gold on them. I love these. These are sequins, and they don't have holes in them, which is nice. So let's just find, this is a nice color here. I might put some of these on. And there's the more of an orangey color. I think I like these ones better. Let's put some of these on here. So I will start with, sometimes it's nice to put something right on your focal point and then carry it further. It's like flower arranging, okay? You want to do uneven numbers, right? Never just put 2, it's 3 or 5 or 7, etc. Okay, so there's a few little rhinestones on there. And then most of you will know about Wink of Stella. And I love to do, this just adds for those that aren't crazy about a lot of glitter, this just adds a little bit of a shine with a few tiny little sparkles in there. It's very, very popular. Wink of Stella. We have this in our catalog as well. Okay, it's hard to see on camera, but in real life, trust me, it's beautiful. All right, so there's your card for tonight. And then, of course, on the inside, I would do another piece of Whisper White, 4 by 5 1/4, and I will cut another strip of this beautiful paper, or I might incorporate, or I should. I'll incorporate these two little bits inside, on inside. Okay, so there's your card for tonight. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope this was a good time for you. I'm going to be doing this every Thursday night, as well as my Monday morning card layout. And I might switch it to a Zoom so I can see your faces. So thank you for watching and tuning in. I hope you'll go and make a card. Can you do a close-up of the embossing? Yes, I can. Can you let me know if you can see that on the angle there? Okay, so this embossing folder is called Hammered Metal. Hammered Metal. It's one of my favorites. It's great for, because it looks like a little garden path, you know, slate pieces in a garden path. Okay, so that's, can you see, so you can see that, the embossing. Carol, you're saying very nice because of the embossing, you can see it on the camera. Oh, I'm looking up. I think I can see it. Yeah. So I've got my camera facing down, and then I'm looking at my live on my iPad so I can see it. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Christine. So there you go. There's your card. So give this a try. It's lots of fun. And you can use any number of embossing folders on it, but that's basically how it's done. Just cut out these 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. Now, if you don't want these little bits here, I mean, these are 1 1/4, so 1, 2, 3 3/4. If you cut this Whisper White 3 3/4 across, then they'll all fit on there, and I might try that again, but this was just the design that I was shown. So I haven't given much thought of how else to do it, but I thought 3 3/4, and then you'd fit 3 across. Well, because yeah, so you've got 3, so it would end here, you see. You'd have 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, it would be cut off to about there. Yeah, so there you go. Very happy with those cards, and you can embellish them how you want. So if you make one, please post it in the comments, and I'd love to have a look at what you create. So thanks so much, ladies. Have a very good rest of your evening. Bye for now.